Welcome back to the Hotshot Haven, man. This is Jonathan bringing you more informative content. Today we're going to talk about the mindset of a company owner. Hey, company owner, operator, all that, man. Mindset of a company owner. Next on the Hotshot Haven. Alright, man, when it comes to the mind of a owner, a company owner, a owner operator, anyone in the position that makes decisions about what's going on, and people that have control over the money, the pricing of stuff as it gets moved, there's a different mindset than the average person has about pricing, things of the nature of company finances. Oftentimes I say this is not simple math. This is business economics. It's a difference. You cannot quantify everything that happens as a trickle down effect. And that's the point I'm trying to make today. As an owner, you streamline your company, and I want to let you know that as an owner, you streamline your company with margins in mind. This is a point I like to make about any company in any market. It's not just transportation. Margins dictate when prices change. So as the market changes and shifts, do not feel that you are obligated to automatically lower your price down to the basement to appease a shipper or a customer or a broker. You got to understand, this is the scenario that I want you to understand. During the times that freight was cheap, and it's still cheap, and it's down low, and diesel was up, that didn't make the transporter or the carrier's price go up because they work within a margin. We work within a margin of profit that is acceptable to run your company and sufficient to keep it going and make it profitable. So with that being said, when you think about rate increases, the first thing people would normally say is, if I increase the rate, the customer will increase the rate, the broker will increase what he needs to increase, the initial customer will increase because the cost of their goods to be shipped has increased, and therefore the price of everything will skyrocket in the market. That is not absolutely true. In certain cases, that is true when you start to go to the upper limits of the margins that have been set by the company. One thing about it, we are being in business, we don't know other companies' dealings, but we know our own company dealings. So we know that if diesel fluctuates 25 to 30 cents a gallon, it doesn't automatically require you to up your rate of what you charge or change what you're doing. You just adjust to those conditions and make your profit margin be the same. Whether it's dropping 5 miles an hour off your speed every day and saving fuel, whether it's actually not eating out so much and packing food when you leave and things like that, and it makes your profit margin the same. Well, the same holds true to these large companies that ship things. Okay, there's always room for improvement. And when you see that it costs a certain amount of money to move a certain product, and that number changes and goes up, you make adjustments inside of your company to compensate for that change in your profit margin. If it's not so much to raise the price of the customer, it may be doing something as simple as consolidating a warehouse to where you don't have the expense of a certain building and you come out making more profit than before you made that change. It may come down to someone having less time on the clock, or areas of the factory being shut down with lights and things like that, and operations move to one building. It could be as simple as people start going home at 4 instead of 5 every day. But there are many ways that companies have to change the outlook of numbers and do very creative accounting that makes it possible for the price to fluctuate all in between the supply chain, and the end user does not suffer. And that's what I want you to know. There should be no guilt or no feeling of unrest when you bid the load for what you think it's worth. When the load is worth what it was worth the last time you came through there and the rate was okay, it's still worth that same amount. The prices on the shelf haven't dropped, so why are the prices for what we're carrying have to drop? This is what I like to understand and to make known, that as truckers, as company owners, we have to train our minds to think as if we are large corporations. You got to understand that every time the price of something changes, whether it be the chemicals that they make this certain product out of, the parts, the required materials that it takes to produce these items that we're carrying changes, the price doesn't automatically change. Sometimes the shipper may find a different carrier that's willing to do it for cheaper. So be it. Let them do that. But at the end of the day, when your price falls below what it takes to keep your business operating, your business can't operate. It won't be long. You'll go out of business and you'll be looking for work. And at the same time, if you do recover and come back to this same business, the market will be such a shambles that you'll have to rethink your whole financial strategy. So with this being said, I'm encouraging everyone to continue to be diligent with their rate selection, their bidding. When you call these people, man, your phone conversation shouldn't last any more than 2 minutes unless there are particulars to be discussed about the particular load. But other than that, when you call, your number should be set, and you should have a little wiggle room in case negotiations occur, but your number should be set. Before you make that call, you should figure out what the mileage is, what the weight is, how it's going to affect your fuel economy, what the weather is like where you're going. All of this stuff is taken into account before the phone is ever picked up to make these calls, so you can be ready to negotiate your proper rate. Like I said before, keeping good records is going to be big, because you can go back and see if you've got enough experience and you've done enough loads, what you've carried that particular load for in that lane at that particular time, and you don't have to rely on anybody else's data but your own. And you know what worked for you last time because you were diligent enough and you had enough tenacity to not accept bad rates even when it wasn't necessary. Because the thing that's really biting people in their butt right now is when it wasn't necessary to cut your rate and run low, you sat there and undercut people to get that load in the midst of rates being pretty high. So now when you come back to these areas and you can't find anything, you go back to the load board and they have garbage rates up there, and you call and ask about this, and you give them your MC number, and they say, oh, we see where you carried this load for really even less than what we put it up this time for. And believe me, it'll be that same rate again, maybe $50 added. But at the same time, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Think big, don't think small, man. Can't nobody hustle this thing like you, man. And like I said, don't ask for what you think they want to hear. Ask for what you need. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. And I'm going to say that over again. The only way to survive right now, what's going on, is to stay diligent, pay attention, and be mindful that this stuff has to move. And just because you're moving it doesn't make you any more essential than a person that's sitting there home and taking their time and looking and picking their loads strategically to make their business thrive. There's absolutely nothing wrong with sitting down and regrouping, but I will say this, to stay out and run the loads at the prices that some of the people are running the loads, and it's actually deplorable, and I will continue to say this over and over and over. Do not monopolize your whole trailer for a week with something that doesn't even pay enough to justify the trip. If you can do better with smaller partials and negotiate better with smaller partials instead of whole loads, and you find yourself making more money, that's more than likely the route you need to continue to take. Cross country, full truck loads, hey, charge appropriately. Short runs, small pieces, charge accordingly. But at the end of the day, you got to realize that there's a whole lot of freight out here still. There's a whole lot of money to be made. Don't burn the money. I can say that once and I say it again. Don't burn the money, man. It's like a dice game. Hey, don't burn the money, because you can't pick it up after you burn it. Hey, it's been the Hotshot Haven, man. Johnson, man. Hey, y'all be blessed, be safe, keeping wheel turned the right side down, man, and hustle, man. Like I said, can't nobody hustle this shit like you, man. Do this. get it together. If you on the fence about doing it, continue to save your money, do the research, and I promise you, man, it'll work out. But one thing about it, it's all about what you put into it. Hey, till the next time, peace out. Hey, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, get these notifications jumped out, man. Hotshot Haven, we out.